military intelligence officer and Spokane police detective, is using his skills to craft best-selling crime novels. His latest, The Last Caller, centers around a Brooklyn homicide detective trying to solve a murder without losing his job or his life. Those are very important things. Please welcome author Frank Zafiro. It's good to meet you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, what an interesting life. Did you like being a police officer or an intelligence officer more?
I spent 5 years in the military, so I'd have to say I spent 20 years as a cop, so I think that wins out. I definitely enjoyed being in the military, but police work's a lot more variable and interesting.
How did you get started writing? And we were just talking before we came on. I know you have like a bazillion stories, and then sitting down to write is obviously a difficult thing. How'd you get going?
Well, I've been writing my whole life. I think writing is a lot like music for some people. You just feel compelled to do it from a young age. But I started writing really seriously in about 2004, thanks to some other writer friends, encouraging each other and everything. And my first book was published in 2006, and it really just became a matter of putting your butt in the seat and, and cranking out the words and working on it.
It is like music in that way. You have to practice, you have to keep at it no matter what, and not let the blank page scare you off. So what number book is this one?
I was down in the lobby and I was going to count and I forgot to. I think it's number 20.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it's number 20. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so The Last Caller. A caller is an arrest, right?
Yeah, it's old slang for police arrest.
Is that like grab them by the collar? Do you think that's where that came from?
That's where I think it came from.
I have no idea.
I haven't looked it up, but yeah, that's the idea.
Very interesting. Okay, so you have a variety of crime series. You have River City Police. Is that based a bit on Spokane?
Yeah, well, River City is a very thinly veiled Spokane, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And that's kind of an ensemble cast type of series, kind of like a Hill Street Blues or Southland or something like that.
And then Bricks and Cam.
Yeah, that's about a couple of hitmen in New York City, a female and a male that don't really know each other at the beginning of the series, but they do meet up.
They do.
And I write the female character in that one, actually, and one of my writing partners, Eric Beatner, writes the male.
Did you have any trouble with that?
I thought I was going to, but either I really got in touch with my inner chick, or or came to realize, hey, people are people, right? And you just have to try to get into their shoes a little bit.
I think that's amazing. And then Stefan Kopriva, is that how you say it?
Wow, that's the first person that's ever said it right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and that's more of your prototypical detective, first-person type of mystery, kind of your harkening back even like to the 1940s, that trope.
Ooh, the sort of noir-ish
yeah,
stuff.
but set in present.
So there are series and there are standalone books.
Yes.
So do the series just kind of make themselves into series, like you're not done with the characters yet and you keep writing?
Exactly, yeah. I've had a couple that I thought were going to be one-offs. I thought the Kopriva book was going to be a one-off. The first one, Waist Deep, is a redemption story, and I figured once I got to the end of it, enough redemption had occurred that I was done, and then I started thinking more about Kopriva and more Kopriva stories, and that happened with just about every one of those series.
Are there things that you can tell the public about this sort of work or law enforcement in general that maybe you wouldn't just say at a speech or whatever? Is there some kind of way we get to know the ins and outs of the psychology, the stresses, the joys of doing this kind of work?
That's a great question, and yeah, I think so. I really try to do a lot of that in the River City series. I really try to show that police officers are human beings as well. And here are the stresses that they encounter. Here are the things that they do right. Here's sometimes why things go wrong. And occasionally here's a bad person doing a bad thing. But most of the time, these are human beings trying to do the very best job that they can. And if people can get in touch with that a little bit, I think that's the beginning of understanding. And when two people understand each other, or two groups of people understand each other, maybe we can heal a few wounds that exist out there.
It's a door opening.
Yeah.
How much do you pull from your own experience?
A ton of the flavor and the tone and the kind of the backdrop of it. I try to be really careful about very specific things. And very rarely will I use something that I actually did. In fact, I'm more likely to use something somebody said, hey, this one time I got to tell you what happened. I'm like, can I use that? Is that okay? And
Because
yeah,
there is
just
some
give me credit.
serious weirdness that happens in your line of work
Yeah,
where people
it's-
see things that you just can hardly believe. Did you have any cold cases or anything like that that you still live with that you kind of carry
You know,
with
I
you?
only spent 2 years as a detective. It was one of the briefer portions of my career, and so during that 2 years, all of my cases were live cases, were immediate cases. I did tend to hang on to my cases longer than what was average, and back burner them, and then if I got a break in what I was doing, waiting for a search warrant or for a witness or something, I'd go back to them. I didn't like to give them up.
Yeah. It gets personal, doesn't it?
Oh, with almost all good cops, it gets very personal.
Yeah.
I mean, you invest, like anyone who's dedicated to their career, you invest yourself into the outcome. And the difference in police work than some careers is you're dealing with people who have suffered great loss, and you want to do something about that. And so it really stays with people. And that's really what the Kopriva series is about, is that phenomenon occurring, and early on in his career he failed to do that, and it really stays with him for a long time.
I can't even imagine, but I get that sense talking to officers about the sense of responsibility they feel, and oftentimes they'll say there's no such thing as closure, but sometimes you can get justice, and that's
Well
what
put.
they're after. I think that was Sheriff Urquhart, so I'll say I'm quoting him, I'm pretty sure. So what's next for you?
Well, I'm working on the next River City book right now, actually. It's
Excellent.
taken a while to get there, where I felt like it was ready to go, and now it feels pretty revved up, so yeah.
Awesome.
I'm back
Thinly
there.
Veiled Spokane. We get to find out all about it. Thank you
A
so
thinly
much.
veiled Spokane.
Get ready to read. Everybody in the audience is getting a free copy of The Last Caller. We're right back with more New Day after this. Thank you.